A monster storm is roaring across the United States tonight. The storm's path stretches 2,500 miles, and it could affect more than 100 million people by the end of tomorrow. Weather warnings, watches, and advisories are up across 30 states, and a view from space shows a large section of the country almost entirely blanketed by clouds. On the ground, ice and snow have made travel of any kind dangerous. At least 5 deaths are blamed on the storm so far. We have reports tonight from Don Teague in Oklahoma City and Dean Reynolds in Chicago. But first, Don Teague, good evening.
Good evening, Harry. Downtown Oklahoma City looks a bit like a frozen ghost town. The snowplows still haven't come through most of the city after one of the biggest single-day snowfalls in this city's history. More than a foot of snow here, 18 inches in parts of Oklahoma from this massive winter storm.
Across Oklahoma, just venturing outside was treacherous.
The way it is, I don't know, the whole place is going to be shut down, the whole city.
With the furiously falling snow came bitter cold temperatures in single digits and whiteout conditions from 50-mile-per-hour winds.
My feet are like numb, as well as my hands and the rest of my extremities.
Meteorologists are already calling this the Great Blizzard of 2011. Milwaukee is expecting 16 inches of snow, 13 inches in St. Louis, and 14 inches in Indianapolis. A quarter inch of freezing rain can down power lines. Forecasters say at least that much could accumulate in cities like Indianapolis, Columbus, Cleveland, and New York City by Wednesday.
This is probably going to be one of the more disruptive storms for the United States as a whole we've seen in the last 10 to 15 years. You've got one heck of a storm.
In Oklahoma City, firefighters had to help police officers get where they were going. And in Dallas, this party tent was supposed to hold a pre-Super Bowl event, but it collapsed under snow and ice. The wintry mix, constantly falling through the morning rush, shut down Dallas-Fort Worth Airport for several hours. A scene repeated as the storm marched across the country. Don Teague, CBS News, Oklahoma City.
This is Dean Reynolds in Chicago, where if you thought you could escape this storm by flying out of it, you would be seriously mistaken. Flora Walton made it to O'Hare, but nowhere else.
Right now, I'm just stuck.
Nationally, more than 6,400 flights have been canceled today, and at least 3,400 tomorrow. Numbers that are sure to go up along with the snow accumulation. Even those that took off endured some unusual weather-related routing. A flight from Houston to Gulfport, Mississippi, turned into an 872-mile odyssey over a large swath of Arkansas, instead of the direct trip 500 miles shorter. On the ground, a veil of ice preceded the snow. In St. Louis, Cardinal Hall of Fame speedster Lou Brock was frozen in place, and the Blues canceled their hockey game. Who could go?
There was like this sheet of ice all over the road. We were hit it at like 50, 55 mile an hour, and cars were just flying through the ditches.
In Omaha, snowplows, in Chicago, salt trucks, and in St. Louis, power rigs were all on the prowl all day. But there was little they could do against another factor in this mess. As the winds have picked up, the wind chills have gone down. In Chicago, they made a 24-degree thermometer reading feel like 8.
And that's just the start. The National Weather Service says there's a 100% chance of ice, snow, or rain tonight from Omaha to Philadelphia. So things are going to get a lot worse, Harry.
Dean, that is quite a picture. Dare I ask how much worse it is expected to get there in Chicago and the rest of the Midwest?
Well, in Missouri, they've called out the National Guard, and they're importing utility crews from Michigan to help them with their icing problem. Here in Chicago, we're expecting 3 inches of snow an hour and blizzard-like winds, which I'm experiencing personally right now.
We can see that. Dean Reynolds, thank you very much.